Pretty much, I've just always grew up around cars and hot rods, four-wheel drives, mostly off-roading. But gradually, just here recently, I've kind of been starting to get more into more, I guess you could say, cars, not really trucks like I've been doing. Dad's always Dad's always had off-roading vehicles. He's really big into mud dragsters, and that's kind of what I grew up around. Big engines, um, aftermarket four-wheel drive trucks, basically. And then working with him at the shop, cars like classic cars and imports, like classic imports and stuff. That's kind of the stuff that we do at the shop, cleaning them up, beginning the restoration process.
And at the shop, what do you mean by the shop for people that don't know?
We do sandblasting and powder coating. I've done it ever since middle school, basically. He's owned it ever since I was in middle school. Actually, yeah, we've been on quite a few episodes on the Power Nation stuff. I think we did some stuff for Truck Tech. We helped them more or less restore a like a first gen Bronco. We sandblasted and powder coated the roll bars and just little rinky dink things like that inside of it. And they auctioned it off right after that, I believe, on Barrett Jackson. So you've probably seen it on Barrett Jackson too. Right now, he does more of industrial work. Whenever stuff comes in, like the powder coating and things like that, it's like handrails and big company pieces and stuff like that. But hopefully, if I take it over, I'm gonna try to aim more toward just strictly doing car frames, truck frames, wheels, more automotive stuff. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited to see who all we kind of reach out to on YouTube and stuff. Like I know with Dad's work, since he's on YouTube and stuff on these shows, there's people from Alaska who has called him before whenever it's aired. And they're like, dude, that's so cool, and they sit and talk for like an hour about it because up there they don't have any blasting companies, sandblasting companies out there like that. So it's just really crazy. There's people overseas who watch it. Recently, I've gotten kind of into the like classic Japanese stuff. Well, actually, like senior year of high school, and you were the one that's seen it too. So it was a 91 Honda Prelude. Looking back on it, it was probably a dumb idea, but I traded a buddy a 85 square body short bed, four-wheel drive truck, 3/4 tons. I traded a square body truck for a little Honda Prelude. That was.
We ended up going up to Kentucky to trade that for a Fox body.
Yeah, and then
in high school, yeah.
Yeah, senior year we hauled that car, actually drove the car up to Kentucky and traded it for a Ford Mustang that like barely ran. The Mustang only lasted, I don't know, a summer maybe, and it sat out. It just sat. I think the only thing I did on that was take the starter off of it and try to use washers on bolts to try to line it up right, because they actually have shims or something. That's what the guy was telling me whenever I sold it. After I got rid of the Mustang and stuff, a couple years later, I went and found a 2001 Honda Prelude. The guy told me that it was engine swap. I don't really know. I think it is. I don't know. It's a H23A. It's what it says on it. But the dude barely, I don't know. Whenever I bought it, he was just like, oh yeah, this car is cool. Let me take you down the street for it. And of course, we took it down the street and I fell in love with it. But then as soon as I bought it and pulled it out of the parking lot, it died. And I drove it home. And it was fun. It was a fun car, but got it home and it died again. And then it was just the regular thing, and then I just kind of died out with it. So yeah, just every single one has a little quirk that's messed up with it. It just kind of gets left. I can get from point A to point B. Um, Now how we get to point A to point B, that's kind of up to the to the world.
Yeah, I know me and you, we've been stranded a few times together, that's for sure.
Yeah, you were you with me with the International
Yeah.
that time? Okay,
Yep.
yeah, the 54 had a 54 International truck. It was a pretty cool truck. It was a rat rod. It was a step side truck, short bed. Had a 383 stroker with a 700R 4 behind it. It was sitting on an S10 frame. And the cool thing about that is like any of those like late 40s and 50 model trucks, if you use the S10 frame, the way the original cabs on the old trucks and stuff are designed is you can basically, change your cab mounts and body mounts and stuff, but the truck body literally just kind of sits on the frame perfectly. Everything like drops onto the frame, and it leaves your running boards and stuff sitting like a few inches off the ground with like stock ride height stuff on it. So, that was how that was, like I said, with the 383 behind it, but, could never get it 100% right. It'd run good, and then I think it would flood itself, just never messed with that. But we were going for a cruise, got going down the road, and I think I stomped on it. And I was like, whoa, yeah, this is great. And then a few minutes later, it started spitting and sputtering out, and it died on me, and I couldn't get to fire it back up. So we sat on the side of the road for, shoot, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes trying to get it running. So, and it finally just fired up. We drove off, I think. So
It definitely lived true to its name. What was his name?
that one was super turd. Yeah, it had a pretty nice, like old rusty chain on it that had the name cut out, super turd. It's somewhere, actually.
Oh, you got step it?
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Heck yeah.
So the story behind the Cabriolet. So a coworker of mine, he has a neighbor that's a crazy Mopar guy, and his son actually owned this car. Well, I guess he was messing with it and stuff, and he just lost all interest in it or something. He was like, I'm just going to sell it. Just get rid of it. So he told my neighbor told me, and I was like, oh. I was like, what is this car? I've never heard of them before. And so he was like, oh, yeah, it's an 87 Volkswagen Cabriolet. It's a convertible Golf or something. I was like, oh. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go over there and I'll probably just buy it. So I went over there and looked at it and basically told the dude, I was like, I'll take it. Got it for like $1,200. Barely ran. So we trailered it home. I kind of sort of got it the carburetor kind of sort of got it readjusted. It ran better. But then I took it to a shop and it sat for well over a year. Dude never did touch it. So we took it back, brought it home, and I messed with it some and got it finally running back again. And then here it sits, just like everything else, barely runs. It idles and it can go down the road, but it don't like it. I see a cool car and I work on it. I don't care, but it's the tiniest little 4-cylinder. It's a 5-speed manual. It's sitting on some like rinky-dink aftermarket coilovers, adjustable coilovers. That's pretty much the gist of it. Oh, well, whenever I started working on it, I kind of figured out that everything was barely being held together. I think it only had like 2 bolts holding the transmission together. I think the water pump had a bolt in it, and I think everything else is just like JB welded on. I drove it like that for a week before it broke. So, so yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it right now. So, one major thing which it might not be for. I might not do it to this car. I might do it to an S10 or something later on down the road. But I've always wanted to have something on bags. I know like these type of cars and stuff where they have the like coilovers, like independent suspension and stuff. I think it's more or less easier to bag something like this because they make coilovers that have actual bags mounted to them. But I've always wanted to have something bagged. So that might be the next plan for this thing once I get it running right good. So whenever I go to shows or whenever I just meet up with people, the project, everybody has a different project. Everybody has a different idea of how it should look. Some people love to chop the tops on them. Some people love to take the fenders off or take the whole front clip off the vehicle and just leave it, engine and all showing, or making them complete like resto mods, flawless bodies on them, or like this little car where it's at least all one color. So yeah, I don't care what it is. It could be Ford, Chevrolet, Honda. It doesn't matter. Anything. Is I'm cool with you as long as you love your car and just piddling with it or just like them how they look. It doesn't matter to me. So I don't discriminate at all, man. So if it's got 4 wheels or 2, it doesn't not, or heck, a unicycle. You can have a unicycle, bro. It doesn't matter. So got the little horn,
The one wheel.
Right now in the area that we live in, I'm so glad that we grew up in this area because, back when we were in school, there was a car scene, but it wasn't like as big. But now in the Nashville area, man, it's insane how much it's blowed up. The Nashville Super Speedway finally opened up after all these years. Hopefully we can finally do a video on that. Talking about the history of it and stuff like that. But like they're having car shows. I know this year they're having car shows like every other weekend at the Super Speedway, which is crazy. A lot of the shows apparently are getting kicked out of Gatlinburg and they're coming here to the Nashville area. I don't really understand why, but that's just, it's crazy because Gatlinburg used to be one of the biggest places for car shows. In the past year or so, the motivation for doing automotive stuff has like just plummeted more or less. I've just kind of sort of just stopped doing stuff with all of my trucks and my cars and stuff. But seeing everything coming out to Nashville now, it's kind of boosting my motivation to actually get this thing fixed and running good so we can go to the little shows like Import Alliance and Slammed Enough and, stuff like that with this car, but also get my green truck going so I can go to, what's it called? GM Nationals and C10 Nationals and stuff like that for the square body family and stuff like that. But, which I've got another truck that is, the green truck is an 87 GMC and the other truck is an 87 Chevrolet. There's not much difference to them, but the 87 Chevrolet, it's blue. I plan on getting an LS for it, LS swapping it like everybody else does, but LS swapping it. It's got 1/2 ton axles under it right now, both front and rear. I'm going to change that to a 3/4 ton. A few other little rinky-dink things like that. Hopefully, I'll be able to take it to shows farther away rather than the green truck, because the green truck's a little bit too big for that.
So just offhand, do you know how many cars you have right now?
Hold on, let's see. I've got the two square bodies. They're both 87s. One's a Chevrolet, one's a GMC. I've got the 87 Volkswagen Cabriolet. Got the 2001 Honda Prelude. I've got a 91 S10, which that's another one that I'm hoping that I can take to some cool shows here in the next year or so. And then did I say the Jeep? Okay, so I've got a 95 Jeep YJ too, so I think that's it. So Boolers, for me is kind of more or less exactly how the definition of it is, where I actually looked it up to make sure. Um, it's just a bunch of friends hanging out. It doesn't matter, guy, girl, whatever. Just everybody just chilling, hanging out. Um, pretty much just doing what you love all together. Making memories with friends. And of course, for us, Boolers is kind of connected to the car culture. We get together during the summer. We always get together and hang out, grill out, have all the cars parked up together, posted up. You know what I'm saying? And and talk about them, go cruise arounds, go see some cool stuff. So yeah, Boolers is just more or less a family. So.